Hi, everybody. My name is Ali Khan. I'm going to be the chief adjudicator of the upcoming tournament. So we're recording this video to clarify a couple of things regarding the motions that we already announced, just to make sure that we are on the same page. And we got some questions from the teams. So I just want to make sure that everybody gets the answer. So yeah, we're just gonna break down the motions. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell you the arguments, anything like that, but I'm just gonna clarify key things when it comes to the motion analysis. Yeah. So, first of all, we're gonna start with round one. This house would only allow university admission on the basis of testing as opposed to non-quantitative methods. For example, essays, alumni interviews, right? So for the first motion, what is the proposition team stance? And to understand that, we need to focus on the word only here. That is to say, the proposition stands for the world where university admissions only consider testing such as ACT, SAT, IELTS, or any national testing exams that we have in China or in Kazakhstan, for instance. Basically, that's the only metric that they will be using to decide whether this particular student gets the scholarship or enrolls to the university, even if they will be able to pay for that, right? So opposition stands. This is very, very important. Opposition does not stand for only essays and interviews, right? So opposition defends the world where universities consider both testing results and other methods, essays, cover letters, motivational letters, alumni interviews, other kind of interviews, and etc., right? So this is the key comparison here. Proposition, just testing, opposition, testing, and other methods as well. Obviously, to what extent those other methods will be valued by universities is up to team proposition to clarify and also up to team opposition to explain and defend. But I think in order to have a good debate, we need to acknowledge that essays and interviews would play an essential role in decision-making process within the admissions. Okay, yeah. So obviously, do some additional research on different methods, on different testing, on how usually interviews go, what kind of questions they have, and what kind of qualities they test. And same drill with essays and other form of of deciding whether we should allow the student to study in our university. Okay, so this is it from round one. Round three, we have wonderful motion. This house believes that states should take high numbers of refugees even when faced with strong democratic opposition. So in this motion, what we need to understand is obviously the context of countries that we're talking about. So team proposition, please specify what kind of countries we're talking about. And to characterize those countries correctly, we need to acknowledge both parts of the motions. The first part, take higher number of refugees, meaning that we need to assume that those countries are actually capable of doing that. And strong democratic opposition simply means that within the country, the political discourse and the majority of people believes that we should not take high numbers of refugees. And some of them also think that we should not take refugees at all, right? So democratic opposition means that we have right-wing parties there that got a lot of support. Please read about that. It's going to help you a ton. And also overall discourse is like negative towards taking refugees, right? So again, in terms of the stance, proposition says regardless of that opposition within the country and regardless of public opinion, those countries still need to take high number of refugees. Opposition says, no. The reason why we should not take high number of refugees, and then mostly comes from the idea that we have people who are against that, etc., right? Again, do your research. Please read about refugee crisis. Please specify the countries, read about those countries, read about political parties within the countries and overall public opinion on that. Read about refugee camps, and I think that is going to help you a lot. So moving on to the quarterfinals, this house believes that environmental advocacy groups should prioritize lobbying government to change environmental policies rather than convincing individuals to take responsibility for their contribution to the environmental damage. I know it sounds complicated, but let me make it very, very simple here. So we have grassroots movements who support environmental agenda, right? The huge example is Greenpeace, but obviously we have a lot of local organizations that do a lot of job and regional organizations as well. So what we're talking about is a team proposition stands for the world where those organizations, when they have obviously limited amount of resources, they prioritize, meaning that pay more attention, more money, and more media focus on lobbying governments. That is to say, trying to change the policies within the country, right? I provided a couple of examples. Carbon tax is one of them, or banning harmful chemicals when we talk about the factories and etc., right? So that's the world that proposition supports, where those organizations prioritize, meaning that spend more time, money, blah, 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 to lobby their policies. And team opposition supports the world where those groups, same organizations, spend more time, money, attention, and etc. to the individual responsibility. That is to say, team proposition says we need to change policies, and they're going to invest a lot to change policies. Team opposition invests a lot to change people's behavior. For example, recycling waste, taking public transport instead of your own private car, and etc., right? So basically, on both sides, we have the same goal to make the environment better. Team proposition is going to do it through policies. Team opposition is going to do it through changing the behavior. So I hope it covers most of the questions that you have with regard to motion analysis. And then obviously it is your job to do your research, to prepare arguments, to prepare rebuttals, and etc. So for the prepared motions that we have here, we're going to have only 15 minutes to prepare, because we assume that you're going to have cases for proposition and opposition, and then you just need to discuss the rules within your team right before the round. Last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about the hints that we guys gave you previously. So 4 pictures means we have 4 motions hidden, right? So very crucial point here is that please do not try to guess the exact wording of the motion, because I think it is very, very hard to do. Instead, focus on reading about the area that this motion is gonna come from. For example, if we have the picture on the right corner here, WeChat, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, right? Instead of thinking, what is the motion? I think that would be more productive for you to read about those companies, to read about the problems within these companies, and maybe think about the potential issues that occur right now. And then just be prepared in terms of like understanding the area, understanding like the technology area, AI, like IT companies all around the world, and etc. Then, when we announce the exact wording of the motion, we will give you an hour to prepare for the debates. That is to say, if you have pretty good, solid handbook of information about the topic, it's going to be easier for you to prepare arguments, right? So last one on that. Yeah, obviously you will do the same job with all the other pictures. And We will not allow the usage of internet or any electronic devices during the competition. However, if you print the materials that you prepared before, it is completely fine for us if you use that during the preparation time. That is, say, if you're doing the research, let's say on this picture with a bunch of athletes, you could print the materials about the topic that you think is going to come, and then use those materials during the preparation time and during the debates. We're fine with that. All right. So I hope it was useful for you. Please prepare for every single motion. I would recommend you to focus on motions that you know already, because you can work on cases a lot. And if you have some extra time, obviously do research on the pictures. All right. So yeah, see you on the competition day. Bye-bye.